My goal for last year was to get under 30% body fat, and I achieved it. And now I'm approximately 28% body fat. The goal for this year is to get under 20%. I would probably like to get closer to 15 if I can, and at maximum stretch, I think 12% would be great. But I'm not gonna shoot for the moon here. I want achievable goals, easily achievable goals, comfortably achievable goals, and goals that uh, are easy to achieve, because if they're difficult and I fail them, I'm going to probably go completely off the rails. So to avert that disaster, I'm keeping things closer to me and I'm giving myself ample time to achieve them. So I'm really happy with my result today. There are two things that I look for, these two numbers every week. If either of these numbers are blue, I don't know if my mouse is showing up on here or not, but if my body fat percentage is blue or my weight is blue from week to week, I'm happy with that. In my spreadsheet, I have my weight tracked on a daily basis, but I didn't take a screenshot of that sheet, unfortunately. But generally speaking, as long as my average weight is going down week to week, or my measurements are going down week to week, or both is fine. But as long as one of them is going down every week, I'm going to feel like I'm succeeding. But I have other things that I'm tracking as well. So here is how I'm calculating what my calorie should be, which is kind of I don't know, maybe it's a little too involved. Last year, I would just pick a calorie amount to be at for a given week, and then I'd just stick to it for the whole week as best I can, and then I would track my adherence to that. And my adherence was pretty abysmal. It was only about 60%. So I'm going to try this instead, which is, as you can see, a 26% weekly deficit. So here on the left column, I have my TDEE, which is how much I would need to eat to not lose any weight at all, which is quite a lot of food. And then on the top row here is the percentages that will calculate what I'm eating on a given day. So on these first 4 days, I'm eating half of my TDEE, and then the last 3 days are closer to maintenance. So, and then Tuesday, not Sunday, Tuesday is when I is splitting the difference. I'm eating a little bit less because my weigh-in day is on a Wednesday. So I want to not be so puffy, and I want to have avoided my bowels and stuff like that. So came in really nice today. I think this is a doable arrangement. At least it has been for the past week. So I'm going to try it again for this week. The data for the 8th here is just copied and pasted from up there, just without any consumed calories added, because I haven't eaten anything yet. Well, I have, but I just haven't logged it yet. So this is just the format down here. I just included it for comparison's sake. This number, this 4,000 number, is probably going to be different, but maybe it won't. Maybe I think it is staying the same for this week, but it's not going to stay the same for the entirety of the year. As I get lighter, this number will change naturally. So yeah, and in further updates, I'll show that. So behind this sheet, I have the adherence tracker. I don't have the full week in here because it didn't fit in the screenshot, but I do have the full week just like I had in this one. In this one, it's just that it's the same number day of the week in the same arrangement, so that I can one-to-one. In this sheet, you can see on the far right, achieved. There's a 6. That lets me know that one of these days I messed up and I wasn't in a deficit. Oh, it was Saturday. Okay, then we come to the other sheet, and then it's not the right. It doesn't show it here, but I didn't check the Sunday box, and now here it says 6, and so I'm at a net adherence of 86 for the year, because I just started the year. But you can also see from week to week which weeks are going to be better than others, or worse. Hopefully not too much worse. But this is a way for me to make sure that I'm staying mindful of what I'm doing, and I'm still engaged with my program, because that was the problem that I was having with last year. Last year's approach is that I was making a lot of cope excuses and thinking I'll make up for it later. I don't want to do that. I want to have my days on a daily basis be good. I don't want to always think, if I mess up so much today, then next week I have to take off 200 calories from every day to make up the difference. I don't want to deal with that. I want to really be mindful of the day that I'm in. So I'm making it a little bit more complicated so that I really look at what I'm doing today. What am I supposed to be doing? Instead of just like taking it for granted that I'm supposed to do a certain amount. I also lose track of time pretty easily. So if I don't give myself a reason to look at what day it is, I won't know. So this is going to help me with that. And then something new for me as well is cardio. So this is my treadmill tracking sheet. Again, the full thing didn't fit in my screen capture here, but the only thing missing on the right side is that I track how quickly my blood sugar drops, because I am diabetic and I can end up in a hypoglycemic state if I am too aggressive with my cardio. So I'm noticing, like, I started here with a 9 incline, and I was doing probably, I think it was a 1.1 miles per hour. So I was losing, it was like a little over 1, I forgot what the units are, blood sugar units, losing about 1 per minute. So it was a pretty good ratio, 1-to-1. I could just figure out, okay, I'm at this blood sugar, that means I can do this many minutes of cardio before I have to go home. The thing that's confounding it though is that I'm doing some lifting as well. So the days that I lift, I'm obviously burning sugar while I'm lifting as well. So I have to keep track of that on a separate sheet. I haven't fully formatted that one yet, so I'm not sharing it. But this is a full week of data, so I'm sharing it. And it shows that I have the top of the week is where I'm actually summing everything, because otherwise I would need 2 rows, and I don't know. Just wanted it to be neater than that. So I did just under 8 hours of cardio total, and I don't really know if I'm going to buy the calorie burn necessarily, but I just thought I would include it because it is data that my watch collects, and I don't really pay attention to what it says on the treadmill because the screens are so glitchy and they don't display the data for long enough. And even if I take a picture, then I lose the picture, and I don't care. If it's on my watch and it's backed up to my Apple Health, it's a lot easier for me to look it up. So I just copy it right over here. And the steps are really interesting to me too, because I was looking at a lot of things when I was losing weight last year, people saying they do 10,000 steps a day. Well, I definitely didn't manage that, but I don't think that the watch tracks my indoor steps or treadmill steps correctly. You can see that there's this blacked out row here. This is the one day that I walked slower than 1 mile per hour, and it only gave me like 40 steps for an hour or a half hour of walking. So I'm not entirely confident in any of these metrics really, other than time. But I will say though that working up at this higher incline, it's making me feel more confident that when spring and summer roll around and I get invited to, go camping and hiking and stuff, I really feel like I'm going to be better at hiking. I feel like I am going to not wear out as quickly. I guess an incline legitimately does make gravity more difficult. So it does feel like I'm taking off like weighted clothing or like Dragon Ball Z gravity room kind of stuff. When I get off the treadmill and I'm on flat ground again, I feel like I'm sailing. I just glide on the floor so easily compared to all the other types of cardio that I've tried, like biking and rowing, and I haven't tried Stairmaster yet, but elliptical, everything else I feel like wobbly, I feel weak, I feel my butt fell asleep, or my shoulders ache or something. I always feel like I'm beat up by most forms of cardio. But when I'm done walking on the higher inclines, I used to only walk at like a 3 incline. I won't get into why, but this is the first time I've been walking at such a steep incline, and I don't feel beat up at all. Like my calves might be a little tight if I haven't been hydrating properly, but I've worked on that. I'm bringing little electrolyte squirt things to mix with water and drink that while I'm doing my stepping, and that's helped a lot. And so my calves haven't been locking up at all, and I get off the treadmill and I feel because the walking is now just drastically easier, I feel really good walking around after I'm done doing my cardio. So I feel encouraged to do more, which is really nice. When I do biking and my butt falls asleep and I walk around, it's like, oh, I'm going to sit down and hurt my butt again. I don't want to do this. I don't get that feeling with this. Like my my feet hurt at first for maybe 2 days, but then I got better socks and now it's okay. So so I'm really happy with this. This is encouraging. And I don't really have too much else to report for the first week. I'm really happy that the first week has gone so smoothly. The workouts, I guess it is a little bit different to the way that I've been working out, but that's because I'm dealing with a shoulder injury. So I've had to include more volume days. I've had to do higher rep, lower weight sets just to get the clear whatever gunk is in my shoulder. I didn't injure myself lifting. I don't really, I had a nerve problem after a blood draw that messed up my thumb. And then when my thumb started working again, I guess the way that I had been using my hand without the thumb had been like, I don't know, twisting my elbow weirdly or something. And it ended up impinging my shoulder. And I just didn't notice it until I was able to use my hand fully again. And I tried to use it the way I used to use it. And then it started hurting my shoulder. So I only recently, I think 2 months ago, started seeing a therapist for that. So I might sprinkle in some complaints and things like of that nature, but I am getting better and stronger in it. So I should be able to go back to lifting the way that I want to, probably by spring. I'm going down from 2 visits per week to 1 pretty soon with the physical therapist. So I think I am improving based on that and some comments that they've been making. So I'm looking forward to having my shoulder back. I can't do a lot because of it. My workout menu is very limited, but it's all like doctor approved stuff. So it's not really something that I can argue about it, but then I'm not following doctor's orders. And then if something happens, then I'm not going to get the help that I want. So I'm just doing my doctor approved menu, and then with, managing the loads with whatever feels right comfortably. I'm not doing any like grinder sets, I guess is basically what I'm saying, or like I'm trying to do 1 rep left in the tank, 1 reservation kind of a thing. So not very exciting lifting program, and maybe a little bit too finicky of caloric management, but it's something that's going to keep me engaged, I think, for at least the month, and then we'll find out if I can stick with it, which is why I'm tracking adherence as well. If I just choose to not do it, or if it becomes too difficult or something, it's going to show up in the stats. And I'm going to try to keep track of my mood as well, but I do that on a separate app on my phone. I don't keep a spreadsheet for that one, but I will correlate that data if it becomes necessary. But for now it isn't, so I'm just going to try to keep... This is the simplest thing that I could think of that isn't what I was just doing last year. Because I would like to have a more stable progression in my weight loss, because there was a lot of back and forth last year. A lot of coming back up from coming down, and all of the peaks that I had were lower though. So I started, I think, at like 35% body fat last year, and then I went down really fast for in the first like month and a half, and then I came back up and I went only to like 33% maybe, and then I went down again and it came back up and it was only to 31.8, and it was every time the yo-yo wouldn't come back up as far. And so if you only looked at the highest points, then it would look like it was a linear loss, but there's a lot of data of me getting a lot lower a lot quicker. And I want to try to make a more stable progression to a lower body fat percentage this year, because there was a lot of like emotional stuff that was happening with the yo-yoing, I guess. Whenever I would bounce back up and I would be losing progress, like it was good to see that, because it would get me to pump the brakes and be like, okay, wait, I'm going too crazy on this maintenance phase. I gotta relax. I gotta make it, or I guess I gotta be more strict, not relax. But I did have to calm down because I was freaking out. But I don't really want to have to deal with that this time, and I would rather have it built into the week. So if I go too hard on a given day, then I can make it up the next day, instead of like, oh, I guess I'm going to have to go back to my restriction weeks earlier or something. I'm going to cut my break off earlier or something like that. I want to have a more responsive system, I guess is really what I'm saying, rather than waiting to see what I'm going to do next week and then that'll fix what I messed up this week. I can see right away if I mess up. Like I should have noticed on Saturday, like, oh yeah, I ate a little too much. But you'll notice like the next day was when I was supposed to start my my refeed day, I guess. And so I probably just didn't stress about it. Maybe it was like maybe that was dinner or something. Maybe that was dessert. So like it was only going to be a couple hours until Sunday anyway. And I just was committed to being strict about what day I ate something on. So I probably just didn't care and I just let it go. But on other days, I'll have to have other strategies. And I kind of like that. It's going to keep me, again, aware and hopefully committed to what I'm doing. So that's what it is for today.